Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Motivational speaker, the comeback coach, and goal crusher Joe Rivera brings you inspiring leaders, incredible stories, and valuable lessons on how you can change, grow, and reforge your life. Now, here's your host, Joe Rivera.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Joe Rivera. Welcome to the Reforge Your Life show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera, and man, I hope everybody's having a productive and profitable week. And I'm so excited about the guest that I'm bringing to the stage today, man. I mean, this guy, I'm going to just let him rock the show, but Dan Bonner is a seasoned healthcare advocate and keynote speaker who empowers patients and guides medical organizations to prioritize emotional well-being alongside physical treatment, ensuring a more compassionate healthcare experience. He's a friend of mine, and I'm blessed to have him on the show today. Dan, what's going on, brother?
Joe, thank you so much, man. As soon as you and I come on, I feel like I need to be doing push-ups, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's do this, man.
Absolutely, man. Let's rock it out. So, Dan, I mean, listen, I could sit here and tell your story, but nobody could tell it better than yourself. So, I know you got a powerful story. I want the audience to hear how powerful it is. So please share with us, man. Give us your story, your strength and hope there, man.
Yeah, so it started Joe, when I was 23. And out of nowhere, and I truly mean nowhere, Joe, I was having pretty severe symptoms. And I don't want to, they're kind of gross, so I don't want to get into the details about that. But I knew right off the bat that I had a bad digestive disorder. How bad? I don't know, but I had to go to the doctor and go through a bunch of tests and very unpleasant stuff. Being a 23, 24-year-old guy, athlete, much like yourself, Joe, I'm 5'9", I'm 190 pounds, but believe it or not, I was recruited to play football in college until I see some of those big dudes. There's no way. There's no way. So I didn't play football in college, but I always stayed in good shape. So when I got sick at 23, 24, I didn't know what was going on. So went through a series of tests and found out that I had a digestive disorder called ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis. I mean, a lot of people have it. It's not all that rare. And if people don't have ulcerative colitis, a lot of people have the cousin of it, which is Crohn's. So those are the two sort of big digestive disorders. I had colitis. And then they gave me some medication that was actually a form of chemotherapy, but really low dose chemotherapy. But because it was chemotherapy, I had to have my body checked out every 6 months. And usually it was just blood work. And then I guess Joe was probably about 5 years into it where my liver started showing signs of distress. And I had to go for more invasive testing, spend some time in the hospital, but found out that I had a liver disease called primary sclerosing cholangitis. And that's a mouthful, Joe. So let's just say PSC for short. Essentially, PSC is a liver disease where the liver just will shut down over time. There's no cure for it. There's no treatment for it. And ultimately, it's a deadly disease. The only thing that they can do to treat it is a liver transplant. So I found out in 2001 that I would have a liver transplant, my future at some point. And by 2004, my health took a nosedive. And by the end of 2004, I was trying desperately to get listed for transplant. So lots of crazy stuff going on in a short period of time.
Wow. So then what happened?
So you can imagine, Joe, right? Like as a guy, when you're going through that kind of stuff, it's not an easy thing to say, hey, I don't feel well, or forget the physical for a second, Joe, but just to sit there and say, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
You know, I have this deadly disease. I got. You're telling me I need a liver transplant. I gotta. Essentially, I'm going to wait for somebody else to die so I can be the benefactor of their death. That's not a good feeling either. So this whole time, like being sick, I was struggling not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically. And many times, Joe, I would say that the demons would come and get me at night. And the demons were fear, anxiety, questioning, what am I doing here? What's my purpose? Why is God doing this to me? I thought I was one of the good guys. So lots of dynamics going on internally that were more than physical. And I had to figure out from my own well-being, like how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to deal with it? So I actually had to go through this process where, in many ways, I had to reconcile first with God. Mm. And I'll tell you a little bit of the backstory, Joe. Where I grew up, the kid next door to me had the same health problems I did. He was a little bit older. He was about 8-9 years older than I was. But he got ulcerative colitis. He got PSC, and he had a liver transplant. Mm. And his family and our family were more than good friends. We considered each other family. But he got sick after his second transplant, and he ended up passing away at the age of 29.
Wow.
Yeah. I was in college at the time. And I had remembered him being sick and just praying to God, saying, you got to cut my friend a break. You got to cut him a break. You know, he's been sick since he was 13, in and out of hospitals. And when I found out that he passed away, I got so angry with God, Joe, that I said, I'm done with you. I want nothing to do with you. And that was I was about 20 years old. So when I found out 23, 24 that I was having serious health problems, those problems became too big for me. Too big to put on my girlfriend, to put on my wife. And I found myself wanting to reconcile with God. And I had to do that. And the interesting thing about that, Joe, because I can remember exactly where I was when it happened. And I was on a plane. I was flying home. And I just said, you know, God, I'm so sorry that I turned my back on you. And what was interesting, Joe, was in that moment, I almost felt like God say to me, yeah, but I never turned my back on you. And in that moment, I felt like I was completely washed over in God's mercy. And whatever inhibitions I had about making reconciliations or apologizing and stuff like that, it was almost like it was immediately forgiven.
Yeah.
And I just sort of had to sit there and absorb it because it was a powerful and very emotional moment. And I got emotional, tears were coming down my face. And I knew at that point that number one, God would always be with me. No doubt.
Amen.
Number two, I would never turn my back on him again. So come hell or high water, I was going to rely on God to see me through. So in early 2005, I got listed for a transplant. And within about 6 weeks, I got a liver transplant. physically the most challenging time I'd ever been through. To the point where there were nights in the hospital, Joe, where I was praying to God. Like I labeled it as I was non-suicidal, suicidal. Meaning it was so difficult. I didn't want to do it anymore. But I wanted God to take me. I didn't want to do it myself. But I just said, listen, God, I know you're with me, but I got nothing left in my gas tank. I don't want to do this anymore. And somehow, some way, God works in His mysterious ways and gives you the motivation, the strength, the wisdom, the courage, whatever you're lacking in that moment to rise to the challenge. He provides that for it. Or I should say, He provided it for me. I don't want to speak for everyone. Because you have to be open to that, Joe. If you're not open, right, Joe, I know you're open to it. But if you're not open to it, it's going to be a tough road, man. Tough road.
Absolutely. You got to be open-minded towards it. I mean, you call it God, I call it God. Someone else might call it the infinite intelligence, the universe, whatever they believe. Believing the fact that you have a higher source that's greater than you to help you unlock your fullest potential is vital in success and whatever it is you're going to do. But I want to hear more about the story and this comeback. And Dan, I just got to say, man, that number one, you're a miracle, you're a blessing, and I'm grateful that you're here. But let's continue going on, man.
Well, and I appreciate that, Joe. But the truth of the matter is, I wouldn't be here without the man upstairs. There's no doubt. This March of 2025 will be 20 years post-transplant. There's only a small percentage of transplant patients, liver transplant patients, that make it that far. And when people ask me, what's the key to success? You gotta humble yourself. This isn't. I ate right, I exercised, I took my medication, I listened to my doctors, and magically I'm here. No, it doesn't. If you think that that's the answer, then you gotta seriously check yourself out, because I've been blessed over and over again. And why, Joe? I don't know. But because of those blessings, I constantly am turning to God for guidance. I'm constantly turning to God for wisdom, for encouragement, to show me the path that I need to be on, but to be a steward on His behalf. I want to serve others. I want to help others because I think that's what God wants me to do, and I'm happy to do that. Yeah. Regardless of what happens to me now, mentally, physically, emotionally, I could take it. I could take it because if God's on your side, forget it, man. You can do anything.
Well, I mean, listen, when you bounce back the way that you did, and you connected with that higher source, I know a little bit about that.
I figured you might.
But when you're able to really do that. Man, I mean, you feel like you have this body of armor on you, and you feel that you're able to conquer the world, and rightfully so. And that's what our higher source wants us to do. He wants us to go out and be able to live to our fullest potential. That's what He created us for.
Right.
But, I want to kind of go back and ask, because, man, there was a lot going on there, right? Like, you had the transplant, you had this, what was it, the PSC, right? And you had all this self-sabotage that you were doing to yourself, right? That you spoke about, all these different questions, on the why me, on the victim role, right? Why me? God, how could you do this to me? And on the pity pot, I've been there, and I'm pretty sure we've all been there. But it's about being able to pick yourself up and get off of that pity pot and being able to move forward. So, what limited beliefs did you have to crack through to be able to get? And to be able to uncover these core values, the core value being spirituality, right? So what limited belief did you really have to crack through before you were able to uncover that core value and be able to connect again?
Joe, it's such a good question, and the answer is it's not like a straightforward answer. Like you have to live it, right? You got to experience it. And when I was angry with God, and the day that I turned my back on him, I was almost yelling out loud. I told you I didn't want this to happen to my friend. You took my friend, and I didn't want you to. Like, why are you not listening to me? And listen to that dialogue, Joe. It's a lot of I, me. Listen, who goes to God and says, I'm questioning your judgment because I think I know better than you. That's not the way to approach this thing. Right? So the first thing I had to overcome was to humble myself and say, God's plan. Right? God's plan. And you have to turn yourself over to that plan. You have to trust in the fact that He knows what He's doing, and He's doing right by me. In this case, as a person, He's doing right by me. And it took a while to get to that point. But when I heard almost that voice say, I never turned my back on you. It's like you were always in my sight. You've always been somebody that I've worried about and that I've been looking after, and I will continue to do so. So in that moment you sit there and say, yes, I firmly believe that. But what happens, Joe? We're human, right? There's a breakdown somewhere. I'm getting sicker. When I got listed for a transplant, they told me I'd be transplanted within a week. And 6 weeks went by. So you can imagine, Joe, as not even as each week goes by, but as each day goes by, you start to feel more and more disconnected from the healthcare system that you're forgotten. And things start creeping around in your head again. And I remember after about week 5, Joe, I remember praying to God and just said, hey, I'm pretty sick right now. If there's someone out there whose liver that you had in mind to give me, let's not do that anymore. Take me instead. Because I'm 98% of the way there anyway. Don't disrupt somebody else's life and just take me. And I was genuine when I felt that way, Joe. Like I just felt it's okay. If this is the way things go, it's okay. Because obviously it didn't turn out that way. So I'm in the hospital one day. They wake me up and say, hey, liver became available. I go for surgery. And then the day after surgery, Joe, like I was in intensive care when I came out of intensive care. They told me I got the liver from a 32-year-old guy. And many years later, I found out he was married and he had two kids, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. That 6-year-old and the 3-year-old, they lost their dad very suddenly. Chances are they're not going to remember a whole lot about him. Yeah. And yet I benefited from his passing. So to live with that dynamic of somebody passed away and I get the benefit from it, I had survivor's guilt, Joe. I didn't want to be the benefactor. I would rather have God taken me and let him live out his life with his family. But again, it's God's plan. Absolutely. It's God's plan. Yeah. But because it can't just be God's plan, right? Like, I'm thankful for his plan. Yeah, I went through hell. I get it. But I also got a liver from a guy who passed away and left a family and young kids behind. I feel obligated, morally, ethically, religiously, to do the very best I can with this liver. Gratitude to God for giving me a second chance. at life, gratitude for the family for making a decision to donate his organs under such tough circumstances. You know, these opportunities don't come by for everyone. So I kind of had to make up my mind that I need to be the absolute best version of myself. And my prayers to God are often, how do I do that? Can you continue to help me be the best version of me that you want me to be?
I mean, man, it's so powerful when you lean in to that higher source and you ask for that guidance to be able to take you to be the best version of yourself, and asking God to because we all have character defects, right? We all have shortcomings. Asking God to remove those shortcomings, remove those character defects, and replace it with the power that He gave you to be able to unlock your fullest potential, to be able to give you the story that He's given you. It isn't your story, and it seems like you realize that it belongs to the people out there that you're going to be able to help. And I tell that to people all the time. Our story doesn't belong to us. God didn't give us our story so that we could hold it inside and be selfish and not share it with the world. The point is to go out there and be selfless and share your story with the world. Be vulnerable the way you're doing. And man, it's awesome that you're doing the work that you're doing. I'm curious though, because I'm a big believer in my connection with my higher source, which I call God, is extremely something that I hold dear to my heart, and it's the biggest key to my success as well. But I also know that it does. I don't want people to be fooled out there and think that once you say a prayer to God and you say, God, you know what, help me with this or help me with that, automatically it's getting help. No, you have to put the work in yourself. God wants to know that, teamwork makes the dream work. He's gonna work with you when you're putting in work also. So what work did you have to do for yourself to be able to work with God to get to where you are now? After the transplant, after once the miracle happened. Or on the way to the miracle, Dan.
Yeah. Well, let me before I answer that, Joe, let me just go back to something you said, because you said something that was super important that I really want people to understand. And you said it perfectly. This is not my story. When people look at me and see success in 20 years post-transplant, and they're like, "Oh, you've done such a good job." That's not me. Seriously, zoom out, folks, and thank the person who provided it to me, and that's God.
Amen.
That's it, right? But the things that you have to break through is to when God put you in situations, Joe, right? You have to be able to understand the context of the situation. Then you have to summon up the courage or the wisdom or whatever to figure out what's happening and take action. Right? Because if you just sit there and you don't take any action, that's not helping anyone. So I'm not a very outgoing person by nature. I'm a very private person. You're very outgoing. I mean, hang out with you more. But I can remember, Joe, the first time when I went back to work. And this is such a great story, Joe, for what we're talking about. The first time that I was able to go back to work after transplant. I took a job, and I'm sitting at my desk. It's truly, Joe, day two. Because first day was I'm in HR, run through paperwork, whatever. I didn't really sit at my desk. So day two, I'm now at my desk. And there's a woman who is probably 10 feet away from me. And she's crying at her desk. And I'm sitting there going, I can't just sit here and let this woman cry. Nobody talk to her. I felt drawn to her. And I go over and I said, Hi, I'm Dan. I just started. You're obviously upset. Is there anything I can help with? You want to talk or anything like that? Joe, strap yourself in.
I got my seatbelt on.
She says, I'm just upset because I recently had a baby, and the baby needs a liver transplant. And I said, what hospital are you dealing with? And she said, Hospital University of Pennsylvania. My hospital. I said, then you must know Dr. Shaked, my transplant surgeon. She goes, how do you know Dr. Shaked? I said, because he just did my liver transplant. And I sat there, Joe, and talked to her for 2 hours. All about transplant, all about health insurance, what to expect, what dispel any ideas that you might have had about ABC, whatever it was. And we talked for 2 hours, and at the end of 2 hours, she just hugged me with this bear hug that said, I was supposed to be here today, meaning herself, and you were supposed to be there. And that job, I swear, Joe, I believe that's why I got that job. Because it was going to put me right where I needed to be on day two to be able to help somebody. And like you said before, you got to lean in. You don't really know what's going to happen when you lean in until you do. And here it is, the first time I'm having to lean in, and I truly felt God put me there.
Yeah, man. I mean, faith and fear have a lot in common, right? Like you're believing something that's there, you know it's there, but you can't see it, you can't feel it, but you believe in it. And you could either lean into the fear or you could lean into the faith. I'll take leaning into faith any day of the week, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Absolutely.
And what happened to you with landing where you landed, that ain't a coincidence, man. There's no such thing as a coincidence. That's a God incidence.
Absolutely.
And it's because you believed in it, and He started working with you. And God works through other people to work with us, and works through us to work with other people. So what are the core value other than spirituality? Because obviously that's your main core value, but what are the core values really pushed you through this process?
So I really had to, I guess, understand how complicated being sick really is. Because it's not just a physical challenge. Right, Joe? It's psychological, it's emotional, it's financial. There was long periods of time I couldn't work. I got laid off from plenty of jobs because of my health issues. I was denied bonuses because of my health. I was denied promotions because of my health. And all I want to do is to be a contributing member to society, just like any one of us. I'm just trying to make a living. So having to maintain sort of the core value in the face of those challenges was difficult. Because I don't want to blame my physical challenges on the issue or whatever the case might be. But I definitely was challenged and had to find ways to overcome those challenges. And I've always worked in typical corporate America. And corporate America doesn't really have an appetite for somebody like me. Somebody who gets sick. I could be the greatest guy on the planet, but if I get sick and you think that I'm not reliable, then we'll toss you to the side. So maintaining a core value of I'm somebody, a human being who tries to have a genuine, clean soul. I want to help other people. I want to work hard. I want to do my job. And just live a normal life. There's a lot of people that were putting roadblocks up to that. And I just felt if the world took a different approach, and instead of dismissing people that have been marginalized in any way, shape, or form, and embracing them, man, what a great place this would be. You know,
You know,
how many times,
like,
you know,
you know,
I used to work with a woman who was she was African woman, and she was definitely afraid all the time that whenever we had layoffs, that she would be one of the first ones laid off just because she was African American. You got to be kidding me.
yeah.
You know,
We're
we're going to start marginalizing people like skin color, like we're still doing that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right,
and she's a woman on top of it, or if she had a kid, and now they have more reasons to give her. Come on, this is not the way. This is not the way.
And certainly, based on my beliefs, I could never, if God wants to evaluate my life, and He ever came to me and said, "Hey, how do you justify, firing somebody because of the color of their skin, or because they were sick?" I would have no answer. Why? Because my boss told me to? No. I can't compromise my values in that way. So because I refuse to compromise my values, Joe, in addition to having health problems and things like that, it complicated my professional situation. So that was another situation just where as a result of being sick, I didn't see that coming. But I also wasn't going to compromise for quote unquote corporate America. No way.
Tell us more about that, because how did that transformation happen from going to, because corporate America could be, it's fuck you, what have you done for me lately, right? That's what it's all about. They don't care about your core values. They don't care about what you've been through. So what was the transition like from going from when after you were clear from the transplant, you went back to corporate America, right?
Yep.
And then what happened after that? How did you get through that whole, they weren't aligned with your core values, and when did you say enough was enough?
So again, Joe, right? The same job. I'm still in the same job that I just helped talk to this woman about her daughter transplant and everything like that. I remember my manager coming to me and saying like, we're doing a diversity exercise. How diverse is the people that report to you? And I'm sitting there going, don't worry about the diversity of people that are here. Look at the levels above us. Because Sure, Joe. They would hire any diversity candidate to come in at lower levels. But who is getting promoted above? Right? And in corporate America, a lot of times it's a bunch of white dudes. And if it's not white dudes, it's they sprinkle in a couple white ladies, and they think, oh, we're diverse. Come on. That's not what America looks like to me. So as soon as I got back to corporate America, I knew. I was like, this is going to be a tough go. A tough go because everything that I now believe or my eyes have been open to, and I have the courage now to stand up for it. I was like, this is going to be a slugfest. Because I'm not giving in. Because like you said, Joe, as much as corporate America may say fuck you to me, I'll say fuck you to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So what did it look like after you said fuck you back?
Let's just say, Joe, it didn't go well for me. I've been laid off half dozen times in my career. Half dozen times. And a lot of times, I would say 4 out of the 6 times was because I was sick and my health problems gotten away of work. And even hearing that, I think people are surprised to hear that happens in today's day and age. But it does. Let's not try to charade it. I had managers that were like, hey, look, I couldn't give you as big of a bonus because you were sick a lot this year. Or I really can't promote you because I can't give you more complex stuff because you're not here and you're unreliable. And when you hear words like that, Joe, you're unreliable. I can't count on you. You were sick too much. Come on. Are you serious? But whatever. when I would encounter these things, I would definitely push back. And I would fight for the people who were either being marginalized or couldn't fight for themselves. And two of the six times, it was me getting laid off was a direct result of sticking up for the little guy. Because I didn't want to toe the corporate America, line that they wanted me to, and I was like, not doing it. So at the end of the day, Joe, I'm not going to compromise my integrity for corporate America or for anyone else. That's just ridiculous.
Absolutely. You shouldn't either. I mean, you always want to stay true to who you are. That's not a way to live life, where you have to play that imposter syndrome and be someone else that you're not. And who wants to live like that? I mean, that's tiring.
Sure.
And
so you think, where am I going to get another job? Or who's going to hire a guy who's been sick or whatever? Word gets out that he's not going to toe the company line. And I'm like, what's the passage like in the Bible, Joe, where God says, like, God takes care of the birds of the air and the creatures of the earth. He goes, don't you think that He would take care of you?
Absolutely.
You're more important than the birds of the air.
There's something going on with that verse, because I heard it 3 times in the last week.
Did you really?
I got to figure out what that's all about.
I can't quote scripture word for word, but I know the general stories of them.
So Dan, what happened after that? You left, you got laid off. And again, I just want to point out to everyone listening, he built his resilience muscles through his journey, because here he is coming off of a transplant, being a walking miracle, and then getting laid off. But guess what? He has that resilience muscle built inside of him, so now he's able to be resilient again. So tell everybody what happened after that and where you are now and what's going on.
So at the end of the day, Joe, as I said, when you're using words like you're unreliable, you're this, that, whatever derogatory comment that they wanted to apply to me, I knew in my heart that it was misplaced. That's not who I am. And all it was going to take is someone to see me for who I was and appreciate that and give me the benefit of the doubt. And then I got a job at this company, French Bank. I don't like to use names, Joe, but it was a French bank. And if people look me up on LinkedIn, you can figure out who I was working for. But my manager at the time and her boss were very amenable to me and my situation. So long before COVID and being able to work from home, they valued me as an employee. And when I got sick, they said, don't worry about coming in. Work when you can from wherever you can. So there were days, Joe, in the hospital. I had my work laptop with me, and I was working away. But I was happy to do that because number one, being in the hospital kind of sucks. You know, you got to pass the time somehow. So if I could be awake for 2 hours, let me look at some stuff and I'll answer some emails. And they just appreciated the fact that I was trying. And I was actually finding ways to get things done. And it's because of their sort of trust and faith in me that allowed me to do that. But I felt like, wow, that's the way people should operate. It should be based on faith in each other, trust in each other, and once you build up, a reputation for being reliable and giving people the feelings that yes, you're gonna come through for me. There was never a question of whatever happened with me. That going forward. And I got better bonuses and they got promotions. And it just all it took was two people to see me for who I was. And the fact that they did that was amazing. And I'm going to use first names, Joe. My boss's name was Julie, and her boss's name was Christian. At a French bank. Go look them up, folks. Those two people gave me a career, gave me a sense of well-being, a sense of accomplishment from a professional standpoint. Gave me my life back, that I with health benefits and things that were elusive prior to that. All just because that they valued me as a person and allowed me to work within the constructs that worked good for me. I'm very grateful for those two women.
I mean, man, I hear gratitude quite a few times today. Gratitude is definitely another one of your core values, that's for sure.
How could it not be, right, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be. It's got to be right up there.
Every night before you go to bed, first prayer is thank you for another day.
That's right.
And if you bless me with another day tomorrow, I'm going to thank you again tomorrow night.
Every time somebody asks me, hey, what's going on? How you doing? I'm like, I'm blessed, man. I woke up this morning. We're winning. We start the day off winning once we wake up.
Right. Let's go. Yep.
So, Dan, tell everyone where you are now. What is it you're doing? I know you got a big mission. So I want you to share that with everybody and tell us what Dan has going on right now in his life after.
I appreciate it, Joe.
Yeah.
So people, you and I met at a speaker class. And we met because we both feel that we have a message that we need to share with others.
Right.
And it's an important message. I've heard your message personally. You've heard mine. There's no better representative than I could think of when you're talking about the best in humanity, the best kind of people, salt of the earth, than yourself, Joe. From me to you, that's what you are to me. And I feel that because we share similar stories of gratitude, or shortcomings in gratitude. That the way that you are, the way that I try to be, is the way that it should be. And I think you and I are both very grateful for all of the blessings that we have, for sure. So now what I've done is I'm trying to take those blessings and pass them on. I retired from corporate America. I now want to go on as many stages as possible to share my story, and not because I crave the limelight, but because if I speak to a room of 500 people and change one person's life, totally worth it. So I want to continue to try to do that, pay it forward. I've also started my own company working as a patient advocate, as you mentioned earlier. Patient advocates, essentially, I help people navigate their own journey. And that can mean a lot of different things. It could mean you don't understand health insurance, you don't understand what doctors you need to see, you don't understand billing or maybe even some test results or whatever the case might be. But essentially, one of the things that happened to me going through it was it's overwhelming. Our healthcare system is complicated. And fortunately for me, I had a great support system that helped me, and I had the wherewithal to be able to put a lot of time in and understand how the healthcare system works. But there's a lot of people out there that don't. So my goal is to help as many of those people as possible. When you're sick and struggling, the last thing you want to think about is, how am I going to pay this medical bill? How am I going to pay my credit card bill? How am I going to deal with my employer? That kind of stuff. Whatever comes up, I just want to be that person for these people so that it takes one thing off their plate when they're going through the challenges that they're going to be going through. So that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Man, I mean, Dan, first off, I want to say that when we met a few years back in the class that we met in, I knew that we had a lot in common with our stories, and I knew that there was synergy. I knew that we'd be able to work together. Didn't know how it was going to happen, but I'm glad that this came about. Again, not a coincidence, God incidence, number one. But man, talk about really giving back to where you came from, right? And they always say like our biggest downfall becomes our biggest rise, and the way we give back, it's to give back to the people that have been in situations like we were in, like our old selves.
Right.
And you coming up and going into the healthcare system and giving back to that system so that it's done properly, because you're right, there's a lot of shit that we could talk about for hours. We're not going to get into that with the healthcare system, right? But the way you're giving back to be able to lift that whole arena there, man, it's truly a blessing. They're lucky to have you in the healthcare system, and trying to do what you're doing out there, because we need more guys like Dan Bonner to be able to get back like that, for sure, without a doubt.
I appreciate it, Joe. I kind of feel, Joe, that I can feel the emotion stirring up inside me. I used to want to be able to boil the ocean, Joe. I just was like, I want to help 10 million people. And that's really, really hard to do. But I found out that helping people one person at a time,
That's right.
is incredibly rewarding.
That's right.
And I'm not so concerned about boiling the ocean anymore.
Right.
But just give me one person, one more guy. Let me help one more person. And that's just what I keep trying to go by. As soon as I help somebody and I think that they're good, great. God, give me one more. Give me one more. And I think you share that same value system.
Absolutely, man. One person at a time. If I could help one person at a time every day, I know God's going to keep bringing them my way, because he's going to see that I'm doing his work. He's going to see that he's working through me. And then eventually it reaches out to that massive, 10, 20 million. It's whatever number he wants it. If he wants it to be 10 million, it'd be 10 million. If he wants it a billion, let it be a billion. Whatever you want, it's up to you. You saved my life. I can't tell you how you're going to run in the rest of the show. You know what I mean?
That's such 1,000% right. That's 1,000% right. Drop the mic, Joe, because that's it, what you just said.
It's so true, man.
Yep.
So Dan, tell the listeners where they could find you, so that they'll be able to find Dan Bonner if they're looking for him.
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn, Dan Bonner. You could look at my company, Aegis Health Advocacy. You can email me at dan@danbonner.com. Or check out my website, https://danbonner.com.
Awesome. And Dan, 2 questions I ask everyone that comes on the show. Number 1, what does purpose mean to you?
Joe, you could have given me some heads up before you could ask me this question. One of the toughest questions. What is purpose? Purpose to me is fulfilling whatever God wants me to do. Is the purpose. And I don't know what it is all the time, but I'm open to the communication from God. And whatever purpose he gives me, that's what I need to do.
Love that, man. Love that. Let him tell you what the purpose is, and open those doors and move those mountains with it, man.
That's it.
And when you hear the word reforge, what comes to mind?
You know what, Joe? When you just said that, I pictured standing at the bottom of a mountain, trying to hold up a boulder. And to reforge is some days that boulder's going to run over you. Let's face it, Joe. Some days you're going to be able to stop it, and some days, Joe, you're going to be able to pick it up and throw it. And reforging yourself is each and every time that boulder comes to you. You're figuring out what do I need to do to be able to avoid getting steamrolled by it? What do I need to do to stop it right where it is? And what do I need to do to be able to pick it up and throw it? And to me, that's what reforging is. Learning, adapting, overcoming, learning, adapting, overcoming, and keep doing that in such a way that you don't lose yourself. You do it with dignity. And you do it respectfully. Not at the detriment of anyone else. This is your journey. That's your boulder. You deal with it. That's what Reforge means to me.
Wow. Beautifully said, man. Beautifully said. And I want to thank, first off, Dan, I want to thank you for coming on the show and giving your strength and hope to all the listeners out there. And to me also, man, that lift was awesome. Your energy's great as usual. I want to thank all the listeners for coming out. And Dan, you got anything you want to say before you go?
I do. Listen, Joe. I love you, man. Seriously.
Love you too, bro.
I so appreciate what you do. And the people that you reach. And the fact that you continue to keep reforging yourself. I hope that you can do this for 100 more years, Joe. I hope you do get to a billion people. The world needs more Joe Riveras in the world. And so thank you for having me. And I look forward to seeing you. And happy holidays to you and your family coming up. Best in 2025.
Merry Christmas to you and your family. Happy holidays to everyone out there and their family. And everyone, we're signing off. Stay productive, stay profitable, and stay blessed. Thanks for listening, young.
Love it. Take care, Joe.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.